Hi, my name is Utibe, and I talk about love as a KPI. In a couple of videos, I've talked a little bit about this idea of enduring success as an outcome. So, from a business perspective, this notion of having success that stands the test of time. And, right, regardless of shocks to the system, external macro factors, whatever, continuing to find success regardless of the time. And several things contribute to an organization's ability to find enduring success. But what I believe the bedrock of that is stakeholder commitment. And by stakeholders, I mean really all the stakeholders that are involved in some way, shape, or form in making a business run and operate and also be successful. So that includes customers, that includes employees, includes members of the community, includes suppliers. Again, all of these stakeholder groups that are comprised of human beings that are stakeholders to that organization. And so the notion of stakeholder commitment is that these folks are committed. When they're committed, it's beyond the transaction, it's deeper, it's more involved. They have a sense of ownership, they have a sense of accountability towards that organization. It's more complete. And the idea of commitment of a person to an institution or organization may sound like a stretch, but it's not, because we see it. We see it how with people in their devotion to sports teams, to specific leaders, to to a range of things. But this idea of commitment is also evident in companies. In some companies, we definitely see that in some companies. And so when people, right, and we'll call them stakeholders because we're talking about it in a more of a broad business organizational context, are committed, that commitment means they will go above and beyond. They will, I talked about commitment as people tying their own, and they may not say it this way, but tying their own sense of success to the organization's success. And so people are, carrying, sharing the burden, for lack of a better term, as it relates to an organization. That is a foundational and key contributor to an organization achieving enduring success, which is different from a flash, which is different from something temporary. I'm talking about enduring success that stands the test of time. And so how do you do that? How do you get that outcome? How do you actually build stakeholder commitment, which leads to that sort of success? I believe you do that by loving people. I believe that the key is love. I believe that you do that by loving, actively purposing to love through your organization, those stakeholders, your employees, your customers, loving them, and not in this emotional way, right? I define love as first the perspective, because I think everything ends with and starts with how do you see people, the perspective, the posture, like how do you position yourself towards people, and then of course the practice, which are the actions that we take that are focused on the betterment of another individual. And so if we're positioned as organizations to love people, one of the things that drives that commitment is people feeling cared for and people feeling loved, right? Other things drive stakeholder commitment, right? Alignment with values does that, alignment with the vision and the mission. But a big part, which I did not mention on purpose in the last couple of videos, because I didn't know I would come to this video, a big part of what nurtures commitment from people towards organization is them feeling cared for and loved by that organization. It's a natural reaction. It's the same way most of us would react when a person has loved us and has shown us that they genuinely care about us and they genuinely care about our well-being and our best interests. We find ourselves reacting. There's research, both anecdotal, scientific. I've done a lot of studying on this, as you can imagine. It's a reaction that you can expect because it's also a reaction that we have. Once we find that we are loved by an individual and an entity, we respond by, it's actually beyond loyalty, by really having that level of commitment, and that level of alignment with them. And so how do you, in sum, achieve enduring success that stands the test of time? You build a stakeholder group, a stakeholder ecosystem where folks are committed to that mission, to that mandate. And from my perspective, you do that by loving people. And so love as a KPI is not an idea in itself for the sake of itself. It's the how, right? And we'll talk more and more about like the how do you then start to show love. It's very possible, it's pragmatic. I'm not talking about love as an emotional state. You cannot manage an emotion, but I think of it as certain mindsets and thinking, ways of thinking. I think of it as certain principles that you abide by and certain actions that you take, or an institution takes, that demonstrates over and over again to the stakeholders, you are important, you are valued, we value you, we prioritize you, and the response is the commitment that we want from a long-term perspective. Because if, again, in this day and age, organizations will stand the test of time, they need that level of commitment, and I believe that commitment is gotten through love. Thank you for watching. All right, bye.